Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ResearchRoadshow.com. Today is March 11th, 2023, and tonight I'm going to give a very brief update on the trial of Eugene Yu, former CEO of Connect, and then I'm going to watch party with Harry's interview with Jeff Prather on the Prather Point. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping notes. Please, at the end of the show, send me a very brief critique, just 25 words. Tell me something that can be improved upon, because we need to improve. Everybody in the group needs to improve to up their game so we can get the word out faster. We're in a race against time for everything that we're going to present and everything that Research Roadshow and Neighborhood News does. Okay. Before we get into Eugene Yu, I just briefly want to reiterate something that I said a couple weeks ago about Lionel Ni. Lionel Ni, as you remember, is the former partner of Eugene Yu in LJ Connections, the predecessor to Connect. And I think they started in late 2009 or somewhere in mid-2010. But the founder of Eugene Yu's co-founder, Lionel Ni, is a very important figure. And here's how we know that. And I think that this trial is being conducted by both parties in such a way as to kind of keep Lionel Ni out of the picture. Because in all the transcripts that I've read so far, and I haven't read the entire 350-pager, but the transcripts that I've seen so far, I've not seen a single mention of Lionel Ni. Now, here we see on the screen the name of a company that Lionel Ni co-founded. I'm not sure if it was in 2000, but it was shortly after 2000. It's called Interstellar Network Technology Limited. And this is based in Guangzhou, in the Jihu district. But the important thing to note is the Unified Social Credit Code. I jotted down this information shortly before Thanksgiving in 2022. After Harry's great reporting, I went to do a little digging on Mr. Lionel Ni and other Eugene Yu associates, and this jumped out at me. This was the first time that I personally had seen a company in the US identified with a social credit score. And so I've jotted this information down. Now, if you go to your favorite search engine today and look for this information, you can find Interstellar Network Technology, and it will tell you that it's based in China, in Hangzhou, but it will not say anything about the Import-Export Code or the Unified Social Credit Code. So this information is being slowly scrubbed off of the internet. Okay, let's go into the Eugene Yu trial. Again, I can't remember, I don't know where I put the folder containing the latest transcripts, but Judge Amy, and Harry will talk about Judge Amy in a few minutes. Judge Amy, who is presiding over the trial now, is the fifth judge since the 5th of October. And she was very upset with both the conduct of the DA's office as well as with the counsel for the defense. She felt that both of them had to get their act together and soon, or she was going to hold one or both of them in contempt. I'm trying to get a little feedback from Rick as to whether or not Judge Amy was satisfied with their conduct on last Tuesday when they discussed the opening of the 350 terabyte server. But the reason that both sides were at risk of being held in contempt is that both sides were getting pressure from people outside the courtroom, and I'll leave it up to your imagination who those people could be as to how they should conduct the court. So both sides there was a great tension inside the Eugene Yu camp as well as within the district attorney's camp. So I just wanted to point that out. Look for that tension on the transcripts. And please, Harry spent a fortune getting these transcripts, $4, $5, even $6 a page. Please take advantage and ask me or Harry directly for a copy of these various transcripts. Okay, let's just watch partly what Harry says here, talking with Jeff Prather. And again, this is from Wednesday afternoon. You can find it at the Prather Point.
And he got arrested on October 4th at the Lansing, Michigan airport, trying to flee the country. That's been suppressed, with the exception of the 28 stories I've written about this guy since his arrest. Okay? But anyway.
Without a phone, because he knew he could be tracked. He tried to.
The server. All right. He was a judge in Los Angeles County, California, county judge, not federal cases. This is a California state case. Issued a warrant. They had a team of people do the search warrant and log it. People were Harry H.A.R. Kane and Associates, and they were part of the Los Angeles District Attorney team that went out to execute in property by Michigan State University. Okay, is Michigan, which was where the servers were at. Well, one set of servers. They're all over the freaking world. That's a different issue. They also, of course, Carlos County, because the software was used in Los Angeles County for elections, and lo and behold, the information showed up in China. Well, whatever happened in the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office is they withdrew the charges so they can file new charges. And Tuesday morning at 8:30, having the fellow Rick Olson from Los Angeles there follow this court and attend the hearings for me. And it's an evidence hearing. And I want your audience to know the Connect servers have been ordered open by the county judge, and I just call her Judge Amy. She's Armenian Orthodox. Okay, I happen to be Orthodox. Putin's Orthodox. We're getting the message here. We're allies here. But anyway, I couldn't believe when I saw the order. She ordered the Connect servers opened rather than return the evidence to the defendant, which is Eugene Yu. Okay. Eugene Yu had left the country on November 9th when his wife cashed in the $500,000 cash bond. He isn't in the country anymore. Okay. Anyway, we're going to get an update Tuesday.
Okay, I just want to pause there for a quick second. It's important that to note that in mid-January, the New York Times and Washington Post tried to convince us that this trial was already moot because Eugene Yu had left the country and there was nothing to see here. Just move along. But like Harry said, this trial is not going away. It's just getting started. And there is a major push now to find out what is on those servers, because potentially it could implicate many other officials from China, from other countries outside the U.S., and very influential people in California, in D.C., and in Massachusetts. So that's what all the parties involved right now are jockeying for position as to what, especially lawyers, if there is incriminating evidence, a human readable form, that there is potential there for a bevy of lawsuits. And so everyone is jockeying for position, and they're trying to determine who owns the actual data on the server, and who has the authority, who has the jurisdiction to over the legal aspects of that data.
The defense wants to know what evidence is available, and they want it to defend them. And obviously, we want to know as citizens what's on that server. Unfortunately, whatever evidence is evidence of the parties, and unless we get a donor or a major publication, media publication to represent the public domain because of the wide notoriety of this case. That's the only way we're going to be able to see them. And lo and behold, guess who else wants to see the servers? The federal judge in Texas on the Eugene Yu and Connect versus True the Vote defamation case, where Connect and Eugene Yu is suing True the Vote for $1 million for defamation, for saying that all the information from their servers went to China. Well, not all of it. All went all over the world. It's in my stories. All sorts of countries, God, including Iran, Germany. Geez, where else? Anyway. But anyway, so the federal judge has ordered that evidence taken to the court, and there's a key person, two key things in this case. It's not going away. And because the judge ordered the Connect servers opened, that's the key place. The other key piece is there's a fellow that lives in Lansing, Michigan, Grant Bradley, and he used to work for Connect. He's the inside whistleblower. Eugene Yu made the mistake of firing this guy on October 9th. Okay, and basically, his job for 6 months was to be in daily contact with Eugene Yu's programmers in China. He was in daily contact with these people. He knew that they had access to the information, and the information was in China. So right there, that knocks out the defamation case that True the Vote has. And I sent my information to their attorneys, and lo and behold, within a day or two, guess who is their lead defense witness on their motions for trial? It happens to be Grant Bradley is number one on a list of 12 people on their expert witness list. So they've got that information. Grant Bradley's attorney, Aaron Davis, has been in contact with the Luke Sizak, who's in charge of the case for the LADA. I sent Luke Sizak the information I had before I knew Bradley existed. I sent him a list of 22 employees that worked for Connect, and I bugged him about the getting this $125,000 paid. The LADA paid to get the Connect servers paid. So this case isn't going away, folks, okay? And the case in Houston.
But it is, let me ask you a question there, because it is something of a mystery. So Greg asked me to come on and speak at the pit, and he had approached me about helping with this center he's going to develop, and I've run geologic. I ran the DIA's Global Intelligence Operations Center. Then you saw that he showed up, and Catherine showed up in sunglasses and a limousine. They were always doing their sunglasses photo, so it's kind of difficult to understand. And he admitted that he was an FBI informant under oath, but to me it looks like the FBI handler told them to go nuclear because he objected. He didn't want to out himself. He outed them. They actually did do a public service by outing this, and it looks like it's still good. But then all of a sudden, it's actually going someplace in LA, deep state LA. It's a very difficult one to fathom. But what is your I'm not doing anything with Greg and Catherine anymore, just because I'm not going to do anything with the FBI. But what is your take on all of that? Do you agree with what I've just said there?
Well, I can't speak to your dealings with the True to Vote people, with Catherine and Greg. Okay, I've sent my information to their attorneys, and I haven't any personal contact with them, so I don't know anything. Here's what I do know. Their case is set for trial on August 26, 2024 at 9 a.m. at Houston Federal Court. And I've read the court documents, and this is a for real trial. And I'm shocked to see that Eugene Yu and Connect's going forward with the case. The only reason I can think of is that their attorneys, plaintiffs' attorneys for Connect, want to drain China for as much money as they can because they're going to lose that case, period.
Okay, let's stop it there for a second. One of the things to note is that there are at least 3 affidavits now that say that some of the Connect data is going back to servers in China, and it's not just for this last election in November 22. It's been for several other elections in the United States, and since Connect operates in other countries as well, we can imagine that the same is true for those countries' boards of election as well. We don't know exactly the nature of the data, and some types of data might have been snuck underneath the official data going back. For example, if you tweak the last significant bit of each 2 bytes, you can send coded messages through. It's just like when Hillary Clinton was sending data to PAC-ISI using wedding photos. For every pixel in the photo, it's not like people with PAC-ISI were terribly interested in collecting wedding photos, but the last significant bit of each pixel in the wedding photo contained the actual data. Okay, I forget the technical term. Marty will remind me what the technical term for that is. But officially, there is something related to election worker data, poll worker data, addresses, height, weight, telephone number, going to servers in China. We don't know what the actual data underneath was, but there is that. That's why all these lawyers are circling around the LA courtroom in case there is something discovered underneath that poll worker data. Let's go back to Jeffrey and Harry the Greek.
And they've got expert witness Grant Bradley, who worked for Eugene Yu and Connect, who has personal knowledge that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. The other thing to note that Harry touched on, but he didn't delve into it enough, was the amount of intrigue that this case is generating. Okay, up in Sacramento, in Boston, and other places around the world, because of excuse my friend in my language, their ties to SCYTL. SCYTL is the bigger fish in this story. Nobody is talking about SCYTL. They're talking about True the Vote, They're talking about Eugene Yu, not about SCYTL. That's what we eventually have to get to.
Information was going to China. I was working with their programmers in China. And, you know, this is the first case I've covered in 6 years where we're actually getting somewhere. And it's not being covered up. And that's kudos to the people in the LA District Attorney's Office with all the bedlam and all the confusion and everything. They got a core of, I don't know how many people, 20, 30, probably more, that actually that love this country and want to see it righted. So thanks. They're persistent, and it looks like all you need is one judge, and it looks like we got the right judge through the grace of God. So
yeah, that's really interesting because Todd Callender is a liberty lawyer, friend of mine. I have him on quite a bit, and we were talking one day about so-called constitutional sheriffs. I said, hey, you know, I know Arpaio because Arpaio was a DA SAC way back in the day. I knew him. I've talked to Mac. I've talked to Lamb. I haven't seen anything from any of them. And he agreed with me, except for Villanova in LA. He said he was the only one. So there seems to be in the deep state West Coast headquarters of California and LA, there seems to be an element of resistance building in the California Department of Justice. It is nothing short of miraculous.
I agree with that. And we're winning. All right. I listened to the whole show so far. I was waiting in the wings, but that's fine. I can wait. But we are winning, and it gets even better. And I want to connect Chris Hunter and Jonathan Cagle to what you just on the screen. This is 2 nights ago. Be there, and he's talking about Eric. I go, he talks for a couple of minutes, and I'm going, Chris, for me. He goes, ERIC. Yeah, so what's the big deal? The big deal is that they're a nonprofit organization. The members are 33 states, and every 60 days, they send, and not only does that information goes in, but this organization called ERIC also gets information on the whole country out of the Social Security Administration. So they've got birthdays, Social Security numbers, how you voted. And I did some work today before I got on this show. I found at least, I can number 180 fake nonprofit organizations that are out there on top of this group called ERIC that basically have taken over local election boards by making grants out of their nonprofit status. They're big donors like George Soros, Bill Gates, and a bunch of other people. Jonathan Cagle did a lot of work on this. His last name spelled Cagle. And not only that, but I found out from Jonathan that the Secretary of State, Wes Allen, you have it on the screen here, he paid a visit to him on January 16th and found that their doors were shuttered. They had vacated their doors. They probably went to China on Eugene Yu's flight. I don't know. But anyway, okay.
They are retreating.
They are retreating. And then I get 200 emails from all sorts of people every day. Okay, most of them is junk, but one I got was from the Ohio Secretary of State, Frank LaRose. He wants to run for U.S. Senate. And he's saying, well, we're at Ohio. We're thinking of pulling out of this organization too. 33 states, and Eric paid them $25,000 each every year so that they can have someone else run their elections. That's just the tip of the iceberg, okay? And what I want people to know is you say you got to get your head in the game. All right. I emailed and called my Secretary of State. I live in Ohio. I also sent the fellow that's in charge of this, Eric, by the name of Prather, Jonathan Prather. Just scroll down, you'll see his picture and everything in there. But he got appointed. It was an executive appointment by Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And keep on scrolling down, you'll see this guy's picture. But anyway, I sent him an email and called. I want to interview him. I haven't got an answer back from him. I don't expect to get one, but I'm trying. But your audience, contact your Secretary of State, contact your local county commissioner. They're the ones, the commissioners appoint the local board of elections. They're usually political hacks. And what now that the hacks have done is you get these people like Eugene Yu coming in and others from a company called SCYTL who counts their votes in Barcelona and other places. It's spelled SCYTL. And the local election officials, even in Georgia, they've allowed now the Carter Center to run their elections in the Atlantic area and also in the Georgia. This is Jimmy Carter, 3,000 paid staff. Pardon me?
So all of the American patriots that are trying to ensure elections and are helping out and volunteering, they should really focus their efforts on getting Eric out of their states and county elections. That's a key inflection point in this fight, because it's always with the left, it's always lawfare through lawyers, and it's always through electronic voting machines. So, and the key inflection point there to fight is get Eric, or at least monitor Eric, or at least cut off.
You got to cut it off. You have to cut it off. What this does with the information they already have, even if you cut it off, they got an information to fix every election for lifetimes. They've got your kids' information because they got Social Security cards. They got enough information to rig elections for the next 80 to 100 years. And I wrote down the first thing I wrote when I know.
Okay, I'm going to pause there for just a couple of minutes. You can't see it very well in this photo that Jeff Prather pulled up off of Harry's site. But this Jonathan Prather is an interesting type. And I'm going to play a short clip from one of his videos, Prather's videos, because in Italy, I saw a lot of shenanigans when it came to elections. Okay. I'm using shenanigans because I don't want to get another strike from YouTube. But this one that Jonathan Prather pulled really takes the cake. This is really, I can't believe that the voters actually didn't laugh him out of his office when he did this. But this is called the Random Number Determination for Statewide Election Auditing. This is really a good one. And it's a good find from Harry. So let me pull that up. Yeah, this is really over the top, and I thank you again for your patience, but it's worth the wait.
Everyone, Happy New Year. My name is Jonathan Prather. I'm the director of the Michigan Bureau of Elections, and I want to thank those who are joining us in the room, as well as those of you who are watching on YouTube, for the very exciting start of post-election audit for the November 2022 election. Typically, actually do the audits earlier after the election, but because we had a statewide partial recount that took place in December, we're now doing the audit process in January. So what we are doing today is part of that audit process, which is the ballot audit.
Okay, so to make a long story short, all the people in the room are going to throw a pair of dice, and the numbers on the dice will be recorded. And since it's hard to have all 20 people in the room, in on the deal, you can say that this was a fair roll of the dice. So one by one, all 20 people get up there and they throw the dice.
Thank you, sir. And Clerk Finley.
So at the end, they collect the 20 numbers that were rolled. And I assume that everybody in the room is a voter within that county. All right.
We have 5.
So since
with this definitely
we assume that the die are fair, okay, and that the 20 numbers collected and put on the board at the end,
we have it.
the 20th die rolled.
We're going to plug this number, this up, and then that's going to lead to the random selection of our things that we're going to be.
Okay, so this tells people, according to Jonathan Brader's office, this tells the voters that the audit process is fair because we had a random number generated by citizens, voters within that county, and you can trust us now. You've rolled the dice, so from this point on, it's 100% legit. Having lived in Italy for 30 years, I'll tell you, no Italian would fall for this crap. Nobody. Anyway, let's go back to the interview between Jeff Prather and Harry the Greek. Right. I'm sorry. It looks like I wasn't even sharing there. Okay, let's go back to the interview between Harry and Jeff Prather.
Talk about you hear on Trump and everything is do these great elections, and it's irrelevant to the espionage and sabotage.
I agree. They don't know what they're talking about. If I talk with President Trump, that's the first thing I said. I would say to him was, why don't you come out for paper ballots? You're not going to fix voting election machines. You're not going to fix them. They're rigged for the next 80 to 100 years, period. They've got the information. Every state can cancel their membership in ERIC. Oh, by the way, they got $1 million in their bank account. How did I find that? I looked at their financial records. And this guy, Prather, he's the new chairman. Hey, Jonathan, what happened to $1 million? Well, I haven't got an answer back. And I put that in writing, right to his press agent, that works for the state of Michigan. What happened to the $1 million after ERIC closed down in January?
Where can people support you since you're off Patreon now?
They can go on. If you go to that last story, if you can put that up, scroll down to the bottom of the page on the left, there's a yellow box. And keep on scrolling down. There you go, right there, where it says donate. Now, I try to get it that box. You hit that, you've got 6 options to give, and you hit that, and you got 6 ways to give, including Bitcoin. I don't know how they got it, but the service I use has it. And I think the minimum is $3, and of course you can give anything that you want, but I use it for primarily for court records. I paid as much as $7.25, well, more than $7.25 a page. But I've had transcripts go from free to $514.25 on these child trafficking cases with the European Adoption Center and Margaret Cole out of Cleveland, Ohio. That's a different issue, okay? But get that. I could use the money. And got a lot of work to do, but your audience, at the very minimum, you need to contact your public officials, make them aware of what's going on, that the Social Security records of their voters, of their citizens, are now in the hands of organizations that are out of this country. And because of Craigle and Hunter, those countries are in the first paragraph of that story that you just put up for people. But man, I just
okay. I'm going to try to wrap this up fairly quickly. The important thing to note is that as a minimum, we have Social Security records and voter, how you voted, Democrat, Republican, phone numbers, addresses for a large number of people in over 850 counties in America, going to China and probably a couple of other countries as well. This is now documented evidence. There's 3 affidavits. The FBI has said Eugene Yu is a Chinese spy. Their words, not Harry's. And where is the alternative media on this story? Why is Harry's traffic going down when some alternative sites, their traffic is increasing? They're getting 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 views per video, while Harry is getting his number of eyeball hours, number of unique views at Harry's website has dropped 95% in 4 years. Why is that happening? Because the alternative sites do not delve into the nitty-gritty of the Eugene Yu case, and they certainly don't touch Lionel Nee, who is the mastermind of the whole thing. Lionel Nee is the one with the geek tools. He is the one that does the satellites. He is the one that does encryption. Lionel Nee is the one that worked with many of the SCYTL offices all over the world. So be careful about all these alternative sites that say, oh, look at the True the Vote. Look at the True the Vote. True the Vote is an important case, especially considering Greg Phillips' background. But we have enough hard evidence on the Eugene Yu trial case alone to make voters in LA outraged. LA County voters should be outraged. Where is their outrage? They are not outraged because nobody's talking about it. Everyone's talking about the Super Bowl. They're talking about, the Ukraine. I'm not saying that what's happening in Ukraine is not important. People are being laser pointed. Okay, that's a recurring theme in George's work is that people are being laser pointed. All right, let's continue for a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to wrap it up.
The amount of, what can I say, corruption that I found in the last 24 hours is just incredible. And how just a handful of people can monopolize the narrative out there that these elections are safe. There's no such thing as these things were rigged. All right. You've had a guest on your show, Marley Hornick from New York Audit. And she had 6,000 with her chain of over 100 people. They found, I think, 6 million phony voter registrations that were developed using absentee ballots that have codes on them, so that when they go through, if you're a valid registered voter, they stole your identity, and they can cast 12 more votes to their own candidates of their choice, which aren't what you just put on your ballot. Okay. So all the stuff with this voting machine stuff has been a cover up from day one. None of it's secure. They don't claim it's secure. I even got videos that people from Dominion, people from Heart Civic, and other people, they're asking Congress, are these things safe? No, no, no. Then why the heck do you tell you what? Folks understand that they don't represent you. They represent interest. Just with their campaign finance reports, all this becomes clear. And all right, that's my rant. I know you're running out of time here. You know, you got questions for me. How am I doing so far?
You're great. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to check. No, I don't see any questions. Doing your great work. So you can always find Harry the Greek at newsothersmiss.com and brassballsblog.com and support Harry, because Patreon cut him off, and he's one of the few real reporters. So thanks for coming on, Harry. God bless. And we'll come back and talk about Ohio and Child Protective Services and FBI running kids another time.
All right. For those of you tuning in late, I'm going to put it up one more time. One of the partners of Eugene Yu in Connect, formerly LJ Connections, was Lionel Nee. And in a second, I'm going to talk about the European Adoption Consultants and where the tie-in is. Okay, so here we have the social credit score for Connect. I'm sorry, I misspoke. One of the preceding companies that Lionel Nee founded was Interstellar Network Technology. And why I'm bringing that up again is because it is so important to understand that I'm not sure that Connect had a social credit score, but I'll bet money that they did. Social credit scores in China are a reality. Connect can improve their social credit score by doing certain things that the Chinese government and the Chinese military think are good things for them and for their constituents. And I'm talking about industrial constituents as well, in Michigan, in Lansing, Michigan. So it bothers me to see in black and white a unified social credit code associated with Lionel Nee's other company, Interstellar Network Technology, because that means that there's a unified social credit code for Connect as well. Why is that important? I believe that a return to paper ballots, old-fashioned, I'm talking 1880 style paper ballots, not chads, not punching holes, old style. You take a piece of paper, there's 2 or 3 names on it, you put an X on the one that you want, and you put it in one of the boxes. That's what I'm talking about. If we do not return to paper ballots, then everything else is kind of moot. How does this relate to European adoption consultants? Harry said that thanks to a few people, he's gotten a lot of hits on his stories about Governor Mike DeWine and Bill Barr and European adoption consultants. That is a big deal, because that case, if enough people in Ohio wake up to how Smith-Mundt works, and how they never knew about European adoption consultants between 2000. Well, actually, it goes back all the way to 1984, but the trials, the first arrests were made in 2014. How the people in Ohio were kept in the dark is still a mystery to most people, not to me. I know why they hire the greatest mathematicians in the world to work on Facebook and Twitter so that they can keep laser pointing people away from the most important news in their county. All right, here we go. I'm going to wrap it up in just a minute. A quick commercial announcement. As you've all heard me say before, it takes quite a few euros and American dollars, at least for what they're worth right now, to run this operation, to help spread the word that Harry and George Webb and Mark Kulak are trying to get out. So please, if you can, if you're in a position to loan give us some financial support, then please do so. Here are 3 ways. I'm going to add the same method that Harry just pointed out, the donate box, today or tomorrow. Please look for it. And more importantly, please get the word out. Let people in your county know that there is an issue with Connect and with SCYTL. Please tell everyone, if you're going to a neighborhood barbecue, now that the weather's improving, if you're going to a big social gathering, a wedding or whatnot, get this idea out there that we need to go back to paper ballots when they ask why. Mention Harry the Greek's great work on Eugene Yu, on Lionel Nee, on SCYTL, and get this information out to the general public, because we are rapidly moving into a situation of unfreedom. And I speak as someone who has been in Europe for a very long time, and we have gone from the stars to the sewer in terms of self-governance. We are no longer self-governed. We don't, in Italy, we don't elect our representatives, our MEPs, the European parliamentary members. We elect the people who elect the people who elect the people who go to European Parliament, and eventually, they wind up in places like the WHO or the IMF. Please share Harry's website, share our website, share neighborhoodnewsstudio.com. Get the message out any way that you can. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm going to run another part of the Eugene Yu trial on the 14th of March. That will be the next or the last part of the evidentiary hearing. Please tune in on 14 March for that update. And I'll see you Monday on the Citizens Intel Zoom call. Thank you, everyone. God bless.